right? Let's start a recording and let's do Bleach asterisk lo-fi, right? Yeah, Bleach asterisk lo-fi is not a big issue. Lo-fi, is there like an extended mix? No. I think this one is good. Yeah, this one is good. Okay, cool. Alright, let's loop that shit. Alright, cool. And I need like a picture to help me like get on task, right? Or actually I could put up, or actually I can gather like a pic on my saved pictures, right? Yeah, that would be even better. Delete this. Where is that Donbrothers thing? Ah, there it is. And we can like F11, right? There you go. Alright, what's up my guys? What is up my guys? It is the Khaiza, and oh my god, we are back to another Toku review. We're back to another Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, whatever time. It's a Toku night, right? Where is our theme, right? There it is. Yeah, that's where it is. There you go. So we're back. We're back to another Toku time, and this is kind of like a long one coming. Got like a whole layout and everything, so y'all know what time it is, right? Because this is a long overdue one, and that is Avataro Sentai Donbrothers, right? The latest season to be like finished in the Super Sentai like lineup, right? And I gotta say, Donbrothers is a goddamn magical time, right? Not like in terms of like lore or anything. I mean, there is like kind of like magic in there, but it was such like a treat. Donbrothers is a goddamn treat from start to finish. I love like the characters, I love the setting, I love the interactions like between characters. I liked the villains, right? Even though the villains turn out to be like good guys, well, spoilers like ahead, but yeah, this Sentai was just all around like impressive for being like one of the weirdest in the Sentai like lineup, right? Not gonna lie, this is one of the most strangest Sentais that we ever seen. But because that it is so strange, it definitely has some like, you know, peak to it, right? And it definitely fucking shows. Like from beginning to end, Donbrothers has been like, each episode has been like a wild time, like just like a crazy adventure, right? Some like silliness, some wackiness, some like lore stuff that happens like in the background, right? Everything about like just Donbrothers just screams to me, you know, peak, right? And I like it. It is the 46th. This is the 46th Sentai, right? And this season was 46, and the next one, King Oger, which we will get into in another video on like impressions and whatnot, that's gonna be like 47. But 46th season Super Sentai, right? This coming after Zenkaiger, and we kind of did review Zenkaiger a little bit, right? And I think I gave my thoughts about Zenkaiger being, it was like an okay season, but I definitely had like my gripes with that show being, you know, the main character weren't really like fleshed out enough, right? There's nothing really charming about them. Yeah, the main dude like Kaito in Zenkaiger is just like, you know, this like goody two shoes. Like there's nothing really like awe-inspiring or charming about him. So he's just like this like good guy. That's it. The guys that stole the show are actually the 6th Ranger and the villain Ranger in Zenkaiger, Zoc Skull Tweaker and Stacy, right? Stay Caesar, right? They actually like stole the show, right? And the Zenkaigers were just there like for the ride, and it's just like, wow, for a Super Sentai solely like dedicated for the main roster of the squad, there's not really much anything fleshed out about them. And I mean, granted, right, it is supposed to be like Zenkaiger is like 45 years of Super Sentai, right? So much like nostalgia and like what can we do to like make like a story out of like, you know, the gears and whatnot, right? And all like the escapades that happen with like Zenkaiger are just like, you know, they're kind of like silly, they're wacky, but I don't know, it's like, it's not really like charming. It's not really charming, but with like Donbrothers, I found like the exact like opposite. There are like gags in there, they're like, you know, humor in there, but it was kind of like done, cool, you know? I definitely like liked it a lot for Donbrothers, right? It was really fucking sick. And the whole like theming of Donbrothers is that this is the reason why this season won't get like an American adaptation in America at all, is that Donbrothers is based on the Japanese like folklore. Donbrother is based on the tale of Momotaro in Japanese folklore, where a human was like born out of a peach and descended to an elderly group, an old man and an old woman, and he was destined by the gods to slay the demons, go to like Oni Island, kill all the demons there, and, you know, give peace to like the valley or some shit, right? And his name was Momotaro, right? And his companions that would go with him are a crane, a monkey, and a dog, right? And it's funny because that they mentioned that in this season, and the surprise, like, ow. Ow, my lips. Sorry, chapped lips, my bad. Yeah, the squad comprises of like the 4 original cast from the tale of Momotaro, but there's a surprise character, and that is a demon, right? Which is, you know, like, what's a demon doing what's an Oni doing in the squad of in the squad of the Donbrothers, right? And they highlight her like half of the time throughout like this season, right? It actually starts off with her and her escapades rather than like the overarching like universe and lore of Donbrothers, right? Which is kind of like funny, right? All these like character like episodes that are starting to just like, you know, pull you in, right? And, you know, like with Super Sentais, they always like want to draw you into like the universe, and like they show you like flat out like who's like the main bad guy, who's the main villain, what's their goal, what's their like, you know, major apparatus, what is their MO, what gets you out of that bed, what gets you out of that, you know, full what gets you out of that twin bed early in the morning, you know? And so yeah, there's like a demon in there, and we would eventually get our 6th Ranger and our villain Ranger, right? Which is, you know, that's kind of like reminiscent to Zenkaiger, where they got like the 6th Ranger and they got the villain Ranger, right? Which is super fucking cool. Our 6th Ranger is a dude called excuse me. We got a 6th Ranger called Don Doragoku, or Don Toradora, right? And they both like embody one person, so it's kind of like a Lupin Ranger type of like situation, Lupin X Patolin X, Jiro Momotani, and his character is super fucking interesting, right? You know, being like this like good guy on like the outside, and then has this like, you know, tough interior, but also sincere like inside, right? And they both embody like the same like person, but act as like, you know, split individuals, kind of like, you know, what was it, a dual personality disorder, you know? And that's really fucking fire, right? I like that shit a lot. And of course, I also mentioned that person, but we got fucking Don Murasame, you know, the coolest motherfucker, right? Sounds like a little boy, but he just has this like, you know, shark like water motif compared to Don Momotaro, and it's definitely fucking sick. He's got a similar sword to him. He's got a definitely different vibe from Don Momotaro, and he could definitely like hold his own, right? And he's part of like the villain squad. And speaking of the villains, right, we see the villains, you know, not being like, you know, true like villains. I mean, we've seen like villains having sort of like, you know, depth or like, you know, layers, right? This one feels like, you know, the villains, or like there's not really like a main villain overarching like present, right? It's just another like villain squad, right? Just interacting with the Donbrothers and eventually reforming to become good guys, right? And the villains are a tribe called the Noto race, right? The Cerebrants. They are like, you know, I forget like what's really about them, but they're essentially like a race that is there to rival the clan that where the main red dude is from, Don Momotaro, right? And he's from the Dawn clan. And so the Dawn clan are like kind of like the real kind of like villains, but it's kind of like weird to explain. But essentially the villains, quote unquote villains, were like the Noto trio squad, Sonoi, Sononi, and Sonoza. Ichi-ni-san, yeah. That's what they are. Like a trio group that interact with the Donbrothers group and eventually like switch sides to become the good guys, right? And that's definitely fucking cool. Like we never see like, I don't think we've seen villains coming good, if I can say, right? Oh yeah, we can. Stay Caesar, right? That's like one exception. But anyone other than Stay Caesar, that starts off bad, but later on turns out to be like good and stays alive. Because there are like villain archetypes that, you know, start off evil, but then have like a revelation or a reformation near the very end of their evil like period and become, you know, good. But they essentially like die off, which is, you know, kind of sucks. That's like kind of like the trope about them, you know. I'm trying to like think, you know, what are like some villains out there that turn out good but turned out evil but later reformed to be good and stayed alive in that like process. See, I don't know. Zioger, no. Ninja, no. Tokyuger, no. Kyoryuger, no. Go Busters, nah. Go Kaiger, no. Go Sager, Shinkenger, no. Wow, I'm trying to think of some, and like it's not coming into my like brain. This is kind of like the first for Reiwa, right? The Reiwa season definitely fucking starting strong, right? Definitely got some like good vibes and changing like some archetypes here and there, you know? It's crazy. Okay. But Yeah, like the villains were good, the good guys were hella good, right? The climactic end was like a fucking like tearjerker, right? So we talked about like the villains. Oh, we have to talk about like our heroes, right? We talked about the Sixth Ranger, we talked about the Villa Ranger, but not the main roster, right? Because the main roster is kind of like, you know, lore, plot driven, right? I'll try to like contain like some bits, and then we'll get to like, you know, some like quote unquote arcs with Donbrothers if I can. But let's see, right? So the main red dude is, you know, Don Momotaro, right? And his real name is Momoi Taro. He is a descendant of the Dawn clan, and basically he's the most Chad person before, you know, some of the other Chads in like King Oger, right? This man, Don Momotaro, blessed with, you know, he can do almost everything to an excellent like T, right? That's his like, you know, superpower, right? Nobody can beat him. He's just that swagged up. He's that powerful. But then there's this like one day where he like powers down, and in order to recover, he has to eat what was the mochi? I forgot. It was mochi. He has to eat like, you know, how many was it? Like 50 of those? No, not 50. That would be like a far stretch. 100 mochi. No. It wasn't mochi. It was kibidango. Yeah, that was it. It was called kibidango. I don't know what it is. Actually, let me like look this up. What is kibidango? Millet dumpling, famous for being ration of the folklore hero. Sweet or snack. Kibi no Kuni, an old province roughly coincident with today's Okayama. Gyuhi into round flat cakes. Right, so it's definitely like similar to mochi, right? So, you know, so that's so he would have to eat like 100 like kibidongos in order to regain his strength. But yeah, he's just this dude that is super cracked out. He is like a Chad, right? He has all these like superpowers. But the trade-off is that the other trade-off besides that weakness is that he has terrible social skills, and he proceeds to build on that social skills by interacting with the squad, right? Like a bad habit that others may find annoying, but he sees it as like a virtue, is that always like tell the truth, even if it's like painful, right? And there are like certain instances in certain episodes that like, you know, he tells the truth, but it gets kind of like rubbed on the wrong way. Oh, this idol character comes into like, you know, a cafe or something, right? And Don Momotaro tells that idol, you know, what would you give a score between 0 and 100? 25. It was passable, but it's 25. He's like flat out just says it, right? He always tells the truth, and oh yeah, that's another weakness, right? He can't lie. If he lies, he dies, right? So it's like a fucking condition that he has to like deal with in his like life. But he definitely grows on you for being, you know, just like a Chad, and he's like learning bits and bits of how society or social like norms work, right? And he goes to a job known as a polar star bear. It's basically their version of Amazon. Essentially, that's what that is, right? He works as an Amazon delivery trucker. But yeah, he's just like an OP as fuck dude. Like nobody can challenge him, right? But else we can say about like Don Momotaro. Yeah, and he like has this like a solid friendship with one of like the Noto Sonoi, and we'll get to him like later on, but let's focus on like the main characters before we get to like, you know, episode like spoilers and like, you know, the impact of Donbrothers. So after Don Momotaro, there is Oni's sister, and let's talk about her for a bit, right? Oh, Oni's sister, yeah, she's the fun one. The series actually starts off with her, no cap. It actually starts off with this girl named Haruka Kito that starts off as like, you know, a shoujo manga author that actually got like awards for her newly created manga called Shin Hatsukoi Hero. Hatsukoi Hero, which is like a love hero in Japan, right? And she's super popular. She has like a boyfriend, right? Until all of a sudden, a sudden like thing came onto like her phone, and she became and she got like these like Donbrothers-esque like glasses. Forces her to put them on, and the trade-off is that she is called a plagiarist rather than like an award-winning manga author, right? So but she is like a fun girl. She originally started off as like, you know, just this like cringe like high school girl that is forced to do Donbrothers work for the sake of her manga like coming back. But you know, after like one episode, oh, and we forgot about like this character, right? There's an alternate version of Zenkaiger Man, Kaito Goshikaida. Right? And we actually see like another version of Kaito, and he transforms to Zenkaiser Black, right? And a lot of people were suspecting that it's just like another universe of Donbrothers where there's like just another version of Kaito, but in actuality, right, he's just like this like mysterious, suave like cafe owner who owns like the almost identical version of the Zenkai Cafe from from Zenkaiger. From Zenkaiger, and he runs the place. He makes delicious snacks here and there, right? So it's fucking awesome. And he's like mysterious as fuck. He's a mysterious, suave cafe owner, transforms into Zenkaiger Black, knows the world of Donbrothers, calls himself like an admin, but still retains like the history of Zenkaiger, like he fought many battles and shit like that. He was the weirdest, most obscure son of a bitch there ever was in Donbrothers, and we never got a full explanation of him. We only got like somewhat of an explanation or near like the end of Donbrothers, and you know what? That's okay. That's totally fine, right? I love that they don't try to like spoon feed you sort of like that information, right? Zenkaiger Black is Zenkaiger Black. He's just this weird, like, obscure, almost like solemn dude. And that's how he is, right? That's how he is. But back to like Haruka Kito. Yeah, she's just like the fun mascot of the group, right? She's fun, she's energetic, she always thinks aloud like in her thoughts. She is one of the most comical characters in Donbrothers. She always has this like weird faces. She's she almost is like, you know, break the fourth wall. she almost like breaks the fourth wall with you, right? Haruka Kito, albeit started off as like, you know, a cringe fucking like character, but then definitely like, you know, starts to warm on you for being like a dedicated member to the Donbrothers group. And you know, like, she actually has like a crush, I think, with Don Momotaro, right? I think so, because even when I was like watching the episodes first time, it's like, wait, you're making a book about, you know, your first high school love, right? And so you have this like attraction to this skinny dude that is an Amazon driver, right? But is super good, like ticks you off at bad times, but is very like helpful at the good times, you know? So it's like, huh. And I think they did say that because eventually Don Momotaro like leaves, well, spoilers, but yeah, Oni's sister has like a little like crush on him, and that's pretty like sweet, you know? Yeah, she gets like good moments. She wields like a bat as like a weapon, right? She's all like cute like that. Yeah, she was like a fun character. Then we have the next character, which is Saru Braza, right? Shinichi Saruhara? Shinichi Saruhara? Yeah, I think that's like his full name. He's a hobo. He's literal definition of a hobo, right? Because his character background is that he is a haiku man and excuse me, sees the world like in full bloom and full nature, like in his like headcanon. And like he always recites a haiku here and there. He is a civilized man that always speaks like, well, not softly, but speaks like elegantly. He taught himself how to use like calligraphy. He is a private tutor, but doesn't like the idea of money. Like, it just burns his goddamn hands that money is like a sin. He believes himself to be. It's a sin, but you know, he affords a house, he affords like food and shelter, right? And his food is his like, you know, imagination, right? This weird goddamn like hippie son of a bitch, right? Just strolling around Japan, you know, looking at nature and creating like haikus. God damn, what a weird bitch. And then we get to like two of the most like complex characters, and two characters that really like flesh out the lore of Donbrothers. Well, we'll start with the pink guy first. And this is the first male pink Sentai Ranger in Super Sentai history. Historically, never has there been like a guy that would dress up in pink. But we have a pink ranger, and his name is Kichino. I forgot what his full name is. What's his full name again? What's his full name? Donbrothers. Tsuyoshi Kichino. Yeah, that was it. Tsuyoshi Kichino. Where was I like in the review? Right? I forgot. Holy shit, I forgot. Yeah, we were talking about like food and shit, right? Nothing wrong with like talking about like food, but yeah, I gotta get like this like review going for Avataro Sentai Donbrothers, right? So, oh yeah, we were talking about the pink bitch, right? The first ever like pink Power Ranger in a Super Sentai season, Tsuyoshi Kichino, right? He is a salary worker He is a average-looking dude. Like, he is Tsuyoshi Kijino is the very epitome of like this average-looking dude that, you know, you would assume that he doesn't have a wife. He doesn't have a lot to like look forward to. But he has a wife, and his name is Miho Kijino, right? And he is a shrivel piece of work, right? He's scared of his bosses. Before meeting Don Momotaro, before becoming like, you know, courageous and upfront, he was just a whiny, scared salary worker, right? And he would just like do bills and do salaries, and he would come back home to his like loving wife. But then in the later episodes, you start to see like a little bit of a scary side with Tsuyoshi Kijino, right? I don't know if I could. What's a good way to say Kijino's like archetype without being like you know, blacklisted on Twitch? Because I know Twitch like blacklisted a few words from the system, so it's gonna be hard. But what would be a good adjective for him? Yeah, he's the very definition of one-sided love, right? Like he loves his wife so much that everything else around him treats him like shit, like he feels. The only people that give him like closure, like in life, is, you know, the Donbrothers group and his wife. But his wife takes top priority, and if somebody hurts his wife, if somebody hurts Kijino's wife, he goes full psycho mode. That, how dare you touch my wife, my porcelain wife, you know? You're gonna fucking die. Like, sort of shit like that. That's what he is. He is a good guy, but is, you know, psychotic enough to kill a man for the sake of, you know, protecting his wife, you know? And the funny part about Miho Kijino, Tsuyoshi's wife, is that that's not even his wife. It's not. It belongs to the wow, my bad. The wife belongs to another person in the Donbrothers group, and that is Inuzuka Tsubasa, and that is the the CG looking the other CG looking character in Donbrothers, right? And that is Inu Braza. Oh god, wow. Oh, excuse me. Goddamn, stretching my throat. Inuzuka Tsubasa is a character introduced in Donbrothers, and he is a fugitive on the run, right? He is a theater major, right? His plot goes as he has a girlfriend who he would later call his fiancée, Natsumi, right? And Natsumi looks exactly like Miho Kijino's wife, Miho, right? But the story of how it goes is that this goes like later on into like the episodes, and this is where we meet the quote-unquote like main villains, right? And that is the Juto, or called bestials, right? They're animal beast-like creatures. They actually are like, their original forms are origami, right? They origami, they slip inside like a person's like throat and create like a clone copy of the person that is the, you know, the swallowed origami. Keep the host there in like in the Juto like layer, right? And they become like kind of like humans, you know? Just they're kind of like worms in Kamen Rider Kabuto. If anybody remembers those assholes, is that they're fucking like alien shapeshifters that are literally like scrolls. Worms, scrolls, you know, whatever suits your boat, right? Okay. And what was it? One Juto, or is it? They come in like different forms, like the penguin Juto, the crane Juto, the cat Juto, all sorts of like different forms of the Juto race. And so, what happens is that the crane Juto takes a liking to Inuzuka's fiancée, Natsumi, and captures her, keeps her in the lair, and creates like a clone, creates like a copy of her with no memory at all. But you know, some Juto can have the memories of like their hosts, but it's later retrieved later on in the show. But Natsumi, quote unquote, becomes Miho and marries Tsuyoshi Kichino. Right? And so it creates like this, like, you know, this sort of like tension after, like, in every like episode, like, is the dog gonna find out what happened to the, like, his wife? Is Kichino gonna find out about Inuzuka Tsubasa and, like, you know, has some like mixed feelings about him, sort of thing. And it plays super really well. Like, it's like an engaging like plot piece, you know, on top of like the Dawn clan strife with the Noto, you know. So it's pretty cool that it plays off like that, you know. It's crazy. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, that is the main squad of Donbrothers, right? Momoitaro, Haruka Kito, Shinichi Saruhara, Tsuyoshi Kichino, and Inuzuka Tsubasa. All of them crazy fucking wackadoo like characters, right? But definitely form a Sentai through better or for worse, right? And yeah, like, the characters are really something cool, you know? They all have these, like, you know, interconnecting like plot points between each other, right? The first half of like, well, not even first half, what was it? This is like a Sentai season that doesn't even get like, excuse me, that doesn't even get a roll call, right? They don't have like the proper roll call. That what makes a Super Sentai is that they pose up a storm, do like different like poses before like explosions from the background, you know, ignite their roll call symbol, right? They don't have that until like near the very end of Donbrothers, and it's wild. I like that. It's like, damn, like a Reira defining like feature to like defy expectations and norms, right? I really dig that, you know. All right, so we talked about like characters, right? And and I think we brushed up a little bit on episodes. So let's talk about like episodes like in a little bit, right? Or let's talk about like the whole like spoiler for Donbrothers, right? And well, the episode like starts off with like Haruka Kito and like her escapades of trying to, you know, fit into like the Donbrothers out of necessity so that she can not be called a plagiarist by her school, right? And Haruka's journey throughout Donbrothers is about her finding new material so that she can get over her slump and make a new manga or a new version of her manga called Shin Hatsukoi Hiro. But then it eventually became Avataro Sentai Donbrothers, which is, you know, depicting like her life. So that was like, this was kind of something I was like expecting. But it starts off with her, and then all these like different players like come into play. It doesn't revolve around her, but rather is just like small stories while trying to fit in like the main like plot of Donbrothers, right? And the main plot of Donbrothers, oh man, even I can't tell you, right? Like the main plot of like Donbrothers is just like those little episodes leading up are just too much fucking fun. Those episodes that depict like these like small stories of Donbrothers is super fucking fire. I love it. I love like how chattish, you know, Don Momotaro is. I love how, you know, aloof but also sincere, you know, Inu brother really is. Like, it's super fucking fun, right? I definitely love like the interconnected plot points between like characters, you know. Oh, okay. Thank you. Oh, nice. Got more modders, so that's good. You can actually become motivated to talk a little bit more about Donbrothers, right? That's good. But the episodes have like different points, different character points, you know, right? One episode is going to be Haruka Kito, the other episode is going to be about Tsuyoshi Kichino, right? All these like different perspectives, right? And makes like each episode, you know, a crazy like fun time, right? But still has to like maintain like plot elements, right? And so like, you know, plot is, you know, Tsuyoshi Kichino and Inuzuka Tsubasa, the fucking like love triangle, right? The Don clan with the rivalry of the Noto clan. Don Momotaro actually becomes friends with one of the Noto, and that is, you know, Sonoi, right? He is like kind of like the leader of the Noto race, but develops a kingship with Don Momotaro of how like sincere he is, right? Sonoi loves like beautiful things and will honor a debt if he like has to, you know, but does feel like cowardly if he has to like resort to like an action. He actually fights Don Momotaro plenty of times because they're like blood rivals, and like they're like different stages to like their duels, right? They have like a first duel where Don Momotaro slays Sonoi as like the honor of the bet, but then Sonoi comes back with a portion of Don Momotaro's powers and slays Don Momotaro, well, twice. One time for when Momoitaro tells Sonoi what's his like other big weakness, what's his like weakness, or when is his power down state, is when when he powers down from Megazord form is when he's like most vulnerable. And the Noto have this like ability. The whole Noto like race are they're kind of like androids in the sense that like they don't understand what human emotion like really is, so they go to the human world and discover human emotion themselves, right? And Sonoi develops like he doesn't like dirtying things. He doesn't like dirty things. He would like maintain like a sense of like justice, right? Or maintain like beautiful things in its like prime. Oh yeah, and he would like kill off anybody that would like succumb to their negative emotions like greed and shit. And when they slay like the monster of the weeks or Hitotsuki, and the Hitotsuki are monsters of a week that kind of have like nostalgic references to older Sentai themes. Like one Hitotsuki's a car ranger, it is a Mega Ranger reference, one is a Gokaiger reference, you know, all that shit, right? That looks fucking cool. It's like, it's kind of like they're still like in like a 45th anniversary celebration phase with like Donbrothers, but not exactly, you know, blading it out there, but in a way it is highlighting or nostalgicizing certain past seasons, right, in an episode, you know. That's really fucking cool. But whenever the Noto slays a Oni, Hitotsuki, they are sent to this like the Phantom Dimension. It's literally a goddamn like nod to DC Comics, the Mirror Dimension or the Phantom Dimension. I forgot what it was. I think it's like Phantom Dimension, where they are eternally trapped and they can never return because they are consumed by their greed. But Sonoi slays Don Momotaro after like his Megazord form, and everybody is like, outside of like the dog, is like, the dog and the bird is like aghast. That how did Don Momotaro die? And this is where, in that point of Donbrothers, is where we start to see Jiro Momotani. And Jiro Momotani is this dude that comes from a small little village and wishes to be like a hero. His like goal is to replace Don Momotaro as the leader, right? And he gets like his own ranger form. He becomes Don Doragoku, right? Dragon. But then he has like this other personality called Don Torabolt, and he's kind of like seen as this like sinister form, and his whole shtick is that he wants to beat Don Momotaro, right? Like, I don't want him fucking around my business, right? I should be the only one that should be like the leader of the group. Even though a lot of like the peers of Don Momotaro kind of don't like his ass. Like, he finds him very annoying. But when push comes to shove in Don Momotaro's, like, he actually gets like that glow up, right? Remember how I was like talking about, you know, the split personalities that he has, right? Jiro Momotani. They actually like merge, like come together as one and become a better version of Jiro Momotani. And he's actually like a Juto. Yeah, he's actually like a Juto. His true self is the tiger form, while the dragon form is a figment of his personal imagination, just to like cope and fit in with the outside world. And he even made friends, imaginary friends, imaginary friends that would cope with his social skills, right? So yeah, Jiro Momotani is an interesting fucking character. But that's like near like the end of Donbrothers, right? This is where we start to get introduced to Jiro Momotani, and then sort of like the plot like escalates, right? We get to see Ranger form. We get to see new forms. Well, not new forms, right? We get to see Megazord options. We get to see a combination of Megazords between the 6 Ranger Zord and the main squad's Megazord, kind of like the classic Super Sentai stuff that you would see. And what else? Yeah, it's just super fucking it was just like a fun fucking ride. Oh, and then we talk about the other like Noto groups, right? Sono Ni, right, is another cute waifu character, right? She is like Sono-i, but instead of like, you know, greed and like beauty, she wants to seek like what is the meaning of true love. And her target is Inuzuka Tsubasa, right? And yeah, Inuzuka Tsubasa plays off as this like, you know, this try-hard, like suave, cool guy. Like he has like a blazer and shit. He's dressed like in all black. And that's like a little nostalgic like thing in Super Sentai, is that if you're like dressed in like black or like blue or green, well, sometimes depending on like the season, then you're obviously like the cool guy of the group. You're the edgelord of the group, right? And that's what Sono-i is definitely interested in. Sono-i is definitely interested in the love triangle that happens between Tsubasa, Kijino, and the fake Miho, the construct Miho, right? She even starts to have like a crush on Tsubasa for being, you know, how cool he is, right? I mean, of course, like it's kind of like a play on like real life. That, what is it? You know, like the pretty chicks always get down bad with the bad boys, you know, sort of thing. Even though Tsubasa is like a good-natured person like at heart, but he's like this like trying to be a tough guy, right? I need to find my wife, you know, sort of shit, right? I'm alone. I have to do cool things, right? Thank you, mommy. Yeah, far. He wants to do all these like cool things because I'm bad. I'm an edgelord. I thought you were bad. Fucking Billy from Billy Mandy. God. But yeah, right? Like Sono-i later on helps out Tsubasa with his Miho crisis, almost sabotaging his chances of reuniting with Natsumi, and later realizing that, like, you know, that's true love, right? You have to sacrifice your own love for the sake of like others. And then we have the weirdest fucking dude I could ever find in this like season, and that's Sonoza. My man looks so goddamn weird looking. Like, he looks like a goddamn like giraffe. I don't mean to be rude on the actor, but he's just so goddamn funky looking. Like, who gave birth to that? Jesus Christ. But Sonoza is another weird personality in the Noto group, and that he wants to seek human emotions such as like laughter and like the true feeling of emotion. And his target is Haruka Kito, because because he found a manga, right, which is I think it was like Haruka's manga, Hatsukoi Hiro. Oh, First Love Hero. Yeah, that was it. That's the name, First Love Hero. He reads the manga, which, you know, another author made that to do that not out of spite, but like as a warning to Haruka Kito. Naoki Shina. Yes, Naoki Shina is the name of the manga author, who's like disguised as this mascot like bunny, but then is later on to be revealed as the future version of Haruka Kito that has, like, you know, grown up, made like a new manga, went back in time to rebuild like her old manga because, you know, debt and money and fame, marries Shinichi Saruhara, and has baggage towards Don Momotaro, and gets like a new form, right? What else, right? Goddamn, warm water honey feels great. Alright. Yeah, but Sonosa helps out Haruka Kito with her slump of manga creation, and yeah, she just wants to like help. He just wants to like help her out. He just wants to help her out because that's what, for him, his goal is to attain like true human emotion, and he got that emotion from reading manga, right? So yeah, those are the three Sonoi like groups, and they like interact with the Don Momotaro group at several points throughout like the story, and because of like their actions, they become like good guys towards the evil versions of the Noto group. There's like Sono-shi, Sono-go, Sono-rok, and there's even a Sono-na and Sono... Ichi-ni-san-shi... Ichi-ni-san-shi... go, rok, nana, hach. Sono-ha or Sono-hachi, right? There are even like more versions of like the Noto, and they started like fucking up like the Donbrothers and the Noto group of like their fucking like shenanigans. They cause like trouble, and they have to like they basically are like the Noto supervisors and try to eradicate the original three for not doing a good job. Right? Why aren't you like cleaning up all these like humans? Why aren't you exterminating the Donbrothers? Right? They're the enemy, right? But Sonoi in the group, it says like, no, they are not our enemies, right? Then we have like the interactions between the group and Don Murasame, and Don Murasame is like a character released from the Don clan, right? Sent to on the orders of what, this spiritual entity named Mother, right? And we never get like a reveal of like who Mother is. She's just like this like guide for she's just this guide for Don Murasame to like carry out orders, right? And that's literally it. But towards later on, like in the show, he starts to feel like, you know, I'm done like following orders. I need to like go forth individualism, like make me like who I am without like carrying out orders, you know? And that's what like Don Murasame does. And I was like kind of like hoping for more interactions between Jiro and Murasame, because they're kind of like similar in like some aspects, right? The same like loneliness as me, you know, the same creation, or same like creator as me, you know. So I was definitely hoping for something like that, but no, it wasn't that. It just like eluded off. Later on, Don Murasame ends up in the hands of Inuzuka Tsubasa, because he was chasing him on the orders of Mother, and was like, oh, okay. Alright, I guess I'll like end up with you then. You seem like powerful. You seem to hold me pretty well. Well, what else? Right? Oh, God. Ugh. Is there anything else to discuss about like Donbrothers, right? I feel like I'm missing anything. I'm trying to like recollect here and there, right? Oh, we end up seeing like the fate between the love triangle between Kijino, Tsubasa, and Miho, and it's that, you know, Miho, you know, later on is to be like revealed as the Crane Juto, and there are certain points where like, you know, the Juto betray Miho Juto, right? Because she's not like one of them. She's not like one of them. She's not like a pure one. She's not a real one. And there are certain episodes where they depict Miho being like, you know, enigmatic, or even like interacting with like either the Notos or the Donbrothers, right? Not directly to like Tsubasa or anything, but through other characters like Haruka or Don Momotaro. The truth is later to be revealed to Kijino that Miho is not really his wife. Miho actually belongs to Tsubasa, but yeah, Kijino doesn't really believe jack shit of what Tsubasa says, because, you know, Tsuyoshi Kijino believes that he is like lying, and, you know, his like archetype is that he believes in like, you know, one true love, one-sided love, and that he doesn't believe in Tsubasa's like lies, sort of thing, you know? He doesn't believe in Tsubasa's lies and actually like turns him in, right? Again, this is the psycho Pink Ranger that will do anything to keep his life like happy and stable, and to keep his like wife making him smile, you know, right? He actually gets a little bit darker because, you know, once Miho regains quote unquote her memories, right, and starts living with Tsubasa, Kijino goes down like a dark path and has like, he believes that his wife is still real, and actually like cradles with a doll, with like a porcelain doll, in a weird like creepy fashion. Like, motherfucker. This man is like down bad like really hard, right? And then like Miho, like construct Miho comes back to him, and then another like battle between Crane Juto and Tsubasa happens, with Miho like being like killed on the spot, right? And, you know, Kijino being like in remorse, right? Because he lost the person that he was like really attached to, right? And it made him like spiral down, right? Not like in a psychotic like fit. I mean, this man has been through the Hitotsuki ring 3 times throughout the season, right? He generally tries to like stay calm, but he has this like inner like vices, right? You know how I was like talking about him as like, you know, he looks like the average every day-to-day like salaryman, but he just looks like this like psycho on the inside, right? You know, he's like a psychotic asshole that is like a stalker or like a kidnapper sort of thing, you know? He is that fucked up in the head, right? And this is where I was like, in the later point, towards the end of Donbrothers, it's like, man, He's been through the ringer 3 times. Are we gonna see a redemption of him, right? And he does. He does, right? Like towards the end, right? After the end of like that whole Miho like triangle, Natsumi comes back, tries to be with Tsubasa, but being with Tsubasa means that they have to like be on the run, be on the lam every damn time they try to have like a somber moment because the cops are on Tsubasa's ass. So Natsumi decides to like quit that shit out, right? Like I don't want to be with you anymore or with this life, so get out of my fucking face. I want to be someone else. And so she later turns to Kijino because, you know, she thought of like Kijino as like, you know, a sorry person, and really like believed that Miho was the one for him. But now it just like turns out that like Natsumi wants to be like a Miho in a sort of sense, that Natsumi's dream was to be like a wife, right? Like just a simple like housewife that she would later marry Tsubasa and they would live a quiet life together, right? That was like the dream, and what actually happened was like Miho is the manifestation of Natsumi's dream. Become a hairstylist and enjoy the simple housewife fame, you know? And so Natsumi bashfully asks Kijino for like a hand, not like in marriage or anything, but like a hand. And Kijino's like stunned because like he had this like whole reformation like thing, and all of a sudden he just like almost turns back to his like roots. Well, not almost turned back to his roots, what am I saying, right? He still is like reformed because, you know, he'd been through this journey with Don Momotaro. He said his like, you know, goodbyes to Don Momotaro, which is, you know, toward the end of Donbrothers is that Don Momotaro felt like he did his job, you know, giving pep talk advice to the other Donbrothers and giving them motivational speeches to like move on without him, right? And so Don Momotaro toward the end of like Donbrothers leaves the group and passes on the mantle to Jiro Momotani, which we'll later see like in the sequel movie to Donbrothers. It will be the Donbrothers versus Senkaiger movie, the Versus special, right? And so, oh, got tea. Oh wait, what is? There you go. That was it. Okay, volume is still on, right? Cool. F11? There you go. Right? Okay. Sorry, I just had to like check on like music and everything. But yeah, right? Don Momotaro like leaves the group because he feels like his job is done. He's no longer needed. But then he like comes back because like, man, everybody's like missing his ass. Even though like he can be a pain in the ass, but they miss his ass. Right? Even like some of his like bitter, not bitter enemies, but like even like Tsubasa, who is like a tough, cool guy that doesn't like take orders, or Shinichi, who can't stand his ass for being too arrogant, right? And even like some of his like, you know, bitterest of rivals, right? Like the Jiro Momotani, the real self, and Sonoi, right? They all miss him. And he comes back because, you know, the later like Noto Council like hunts for they ass, comes back and slayed those asses, right? What else am I missing? We talked about the Juto. We talked about the Dawn Clan. Talked about like the... Did we talk about the side stories? I mean, the side stories are definitely like one of those like episodes that like, you know, just fill up, you know, the season like episode count. But those like episode like stories are really interesting week by week. There's always like a fascinating story to tell with like a Donbrothers plot, whether it be, you know, what was it, helping out a sushi vendor, or what was it, what are some of like the crazy episodes that I have like witnessed in Donbrothers, right? Well, I mean, I know they had like a mid-season like movie, which is what Sentai's always do, called Shin Hatsukoi Hiro, which is the name of Haruka's manga, right? And it's actually like a fucking movie version, trying to retell the movie version of Shin Hatsukoi Hiro with Donbrothers characters, right? But it was a fun ride just to like show off, you know, the actors doing like movie things, and, you know, Haruka being closer to Don Momotaro sort of thing, you know? What else is there? Yeah, just like everybody gets like a cool ass fucking ending, right? The side stories. Oh yeah, the side stories, right? Yeah, like what other side stories are there that were definitely fucking like engaging, you know? Like a ghost girl trying to like hang out with the Donbrothers group, or like an idol fan trying to be like her true self, you know? There are lots of like crazy stories in the Donbrothers like episode listing, and it just makes it so like worth it, you know? Right? And this is what like oh wait, what was it? Yeah, I'll probably say this. Yeah, this is what I'll say. Like, I had this like thought in my head, and thank God that like I have this thought like prepped up for Donbrothers, because, you know, Donbrothers is, you know, a Japanese version of a Power Rangers season, right? Like, and like Power Rangers, like OG, it's always about like this, like, you know, not this overarching like plot between the good guys and the bad guys, right? It's a dumb, hokey, fun like little show about dudes and dudettes in spandex beating the shit out of, you know, evil dudes and dudettes in spandex, and potentially beating like, you know, some cosmetic like fucking stunt doubles, and posing up a storm and like doing all this shit. And this is where I'm like leading with this, is that not a lot of people really gelled with Donbrothers, for the sake that it is like super weird, right? They have like CG Rangers as their main debut. It is, you know, it's kind of a little bit off-putting to some like Ranger fans out there, or like Super Sentai fans out there, you know? And to me, I find Donbrothers charming just for the sake of it being weird, right? I love Donbrothers for like the absolute notion that it is a Power Rangers season, right? You know, it's Japanese Power Rangers, whether you want to take it or leave it, right? And there are lots of things in Donbrothers that make it like super weird, but I'm all up for it. Because like I said, Power Rangers is dumb, it's hokey, right? It doesn't have this like, you know, boom comic like epic fucking universe storyline of like Lord Draken and all this shit, right? It's a show meant for fucking kids. Not fucking kids, that's not what I mean like that, right? But it's a show meant for young boys and girls that are seeing like this like content and are like the show's like imparting like valuable lessons to them through like hokey, wacky, silly content, right? That's what like the core of Power Rangers is. Like, goes all the way back to like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, right? Of course, we can like brag on about like certain episodes that really make Power Rangers not really like dumb and hokey, right? Like the avant-garde of Tommy Oliver, right? Rest in peace, my man. Rest in peace, Jason David Frank. But you gotta admit, right? Like, even after Tommy Oliver, they're just like this like weird like escapades with the Power Rangers crew going through different things. Like, oh, hey, I'm Porco Rosso. I'm gonna eat all this shit up. you know, like, it's dumb, stupid. Fucking, I love this shit, right? Like, I love it for the fact, I love Donbrothers for the fact that it's blatantly weird, right? And I feel like this is like the core of what Power Rangers like is, you know? Just dumb content. Right? It doesn't have to try to be like a super serious like storytelling, like an MCU movie, or like have these like intertwining like connections, like have this like fucking conspiracy board like here and there. No, it does not have to do that. It does not have to do that, right? I love Donbrothers for the fact that, like, you know, it's weird, like upfront in your face, right? Imparting like values very, very like subtly, not just like spoon feed you like in your face, right? But just it's a Super Sentai season. It's a kid's show, right? It's weird, like crazy antics, right? And this is where I don't like, you know, to stem off from like this topic is like fucking why I don't like, you know, Power Rangers. Again, I bring this up in the conversation again, right? This is why I don't like modern day like Power Rangers to begin with. I don't like how fucking robotic these like new Power Ranger seasons like are. Granted, I never watched Beast Morphers, right? That was like at a time where, okay, I saw Power Rangers, but I stopped halfway after Ninja Steel and never touched the genre ever again. I was like, I'm done. I don't want to touch this shit anymore. It is getting too stupid for my taste, right? And that's coming from me because like I love like dumb stupid shit. I watch fucking JoJo for God's sake. You know how anal Araki is for like JoJo like content of how like crazy batshit stupid and like crazy convoluted his like explanations can be for certain like battles. Absolutely, I love that shit. At least it's like it's entertaining. Power Rangers nowadays is not entertaining, right? I can't stand watching like Dino Fury. I just like chug through that material, just go through like beginning or ending. I am not listening to like their corny lines, even though Power Rangers is all about like corny lines, but I'm just not going through some of those like trials and tribulations of Power Rangers being so fucking hammy, right? And that's why I entered like Super Sentai, because Super Sentai has some classical tactfulness with their like, you know, cheesy and Hulk. It's a new form that, you know, I'm not like, I wasn't used to back before I was getting into like Power Rangers, but now I love like the shit out of it, right? Because they blend like so well. It reminds me of old fucking Power Rangers in their prime. You can blend hokey humor, like cheap like dialogue humor that's there for like gags and like giggles, but then have these like dark, serious moments of characters, you know, just talking about shit that happens in like in real life, right? I like that shit, right? And that's what I don't like about like Dino Fury is like, you know, oh man, I'm profiteering from ice cream, you know, like it's so fucking so dumb. I don't like it. It sounds like the lines for these like actors are not organic in any way, shape, or form. They are just like, you know, fed those lines. They have to say it, and like, man, I can't imagine those characters, you know, being happy with the lines that, you know, the studios that gave them, right? That thought of these like lines, you know? Fucking unbelievable, right? But Donbrothers, you know, is weird. Yes, I know, but it's at least better than like fucking the other shits, right? I don't know about like Super Sentai levels, right? But it's dumb. It's dumb, but I love it, you know? Not every like Super Sentai is like a fucking like banger, right? I mean, I love like Gokaiger. I love Gokaiger for the fact that like it's a dumbass, you know, well, not dumbass, but it's just this like Chad of a fucking Red Ranger. Everybody loves Marvelous and everybody loves like the motif of Gokaiger, but like there are other like GOAT seasons like out there, you know, like, and I feel like Donbrothers, you know, is definitely like one of the tops for me in terms of like Super Sentai. It's fun, it's fun, it's creative, you know, it has all these like intricate like plot lines between like characters, it has all this like tension that it gives you, it has an amazing fucking opening theme and ending theme by Murasaki Win, right? What more can you like ask for? Right? I mean, like, come on. Power Rangers or like Super Sentai is not supposed to be like serious fucking matter at all, right? It is like on its like surface value hokey, and even with its like dark tones, like if you look at like the OG like Kamen Rider, right? You look back on it, it's just a dude with like low CG but high on practical effects, just putting on a goddamn mask made out of like rubber tape and hope. Right? Like, come on now. It's dudes like posing up a storm. It's supposed to be hokey, but we love it. Right? I love the shit that is, you know, insanely like ridiculous, but also it can be very like, you know, charming as well. And Donbrothers definitely like hits those nails in the bud that it can be very hokey, it's silly, it's wacky, it's weird, but it's also charming. Right? I love this shit, you know? Other than that piece, right? I definitely dig like the forms that the Donbrothers have, or like the mechas, right? Because I think they got like some good ass like quality of life mechs, and I think those like mechs and like toys actually sold a lot more in Super Sentai than it did in previous seasons, right? Because the thing about like tokusatsu is that a season is like a Kamen Rider season, a Super Sentai season, an Ultraman season, whatever, is popular based on their toy lineup, you know? And albeit, you know, Kita Major is a pretty good season, but it was lacking like the toy value, right? Zenkaiger was okay. Zenkaiger was cool, it also lacked toy value. But Donbrothers was one of those seasons where it's like, oh, it's both good in both show material and in toy lineup, right? I even got like the toys themselves, right? You get like all the Don Momotaro alters, the changers, the fucking Tamashi Nations figures, the Megazords, the mechs, right? Those toys definitely fucking boosted the Super Sentai's like financial value to a goddamn like degree. I love it. So yeah, like Donbrothers is definitely like a GOAT fucking season. It is definitely like a, I feel like a 10 out of 10 season. I feel like a 10 out of 10 season, you know? I don't know, like, I don't know, what can I like express into my words other than like, you know, sheer joy and sheer like entertainment for like the season, right? It's just so goddamn good for like turning heads, you know? It's charming, it's poignant, right? I love this shit, you know? It doesn't have to take itself like too seriously, and even if it does try to like take itself too seriously, it wins on those serious like notes, right? Like you kind of like feel bad for like these characters, you know? But at the same time, again, it is a kids show and it definitely excels in that, all these like weird, wacky like humor, you know? So it's fun. I love it. Will it get like a Ranger adaptation like overseas? Hell no. Japanese don't know Americans don't know what the fuck are Japanese like folklore, right? They can borrow like ninja elements, right? But they borrow like ninja elements because that's like Japanese like folklore, but they put like a twist on it and make it like some sort of like alien hybrid sort of thing, you know? They did like the same thing with like Alien Rangers, Ninja Storm, and Ninja Steel, right? But we've seen this before in Power Rangers where they don't really adapt like a peculiar season, even though like the Sentai version of it did air, but they're not gonna do that. Looking at you, Tokuger. Looking at you, Tokuger. Where you at, fam? Where you at? Nowhere to be found. You're MIA. Power Rangers doesn't like your ass. Where's Lupin versus Pat? Nobody likes your ass. Where's Zoojer? Nobody likes fucking cubes. Get that stupid shit out of here. What happened to fucking Q Ranger? Got later adapted into Cosmic Fury, and they're using original suits from Dino Fury and just like using swords, but not really like the fucking but not really using the suits of Q Ranger at all. Even though they're using like the Zords. Okay, trying to be like original, alright. But yeah, that's the Donbrothers review. I definitely like dig it. It's definitely like a 10 out of 10 season. Go watch all like 50 or 51 episodes of this season. It's definitely worth the time and energy that... Who was the writer for this? I think it was the writer that did Kamen Rider Kiva. The writer that did Kamen Rider Kiva, and I have mixed feelings for Kamen Rider Kiva, did this show. And it fucking blew up. It fucking blew up. This is his best work yet. Yeah, Donbrothers, 10 out of 10. What can I say?